Bills. Then we were down in Orlando for Thursday and Friday for the American Renewal Project.
He sees Daddy speaking.
So Saturday, I was back in Orlando with Toastmasters International at an executive committee meeting. So the only way that I could be here tonight was that I had to bring my family with me to spend some time. So, anyways, I thank you for having me. I thank you for the work that you're doing here in our community. When we were up on the hill in Tallahassee this past week, it was interesting because we were there with about 150 families. People that represented families in Florida. We were going up to lobby our politicians for certain bills. The American laws for American courts, which sounds redundant, but would you think that we would be in a day and age where we would have to have a bill, House Bill 903, that stated that we are going to only use American laws and American courts? Don't we have a Constitution of the United States, Article 6, that says that the United States Constitution shall be the supreme law of the land, but yet we have to have bills like the American laws for American courts. Other laws, the workforce, competitive workforce, that sounds pretty innocuous, doesn't it? Competitive workforce. But what that is what we put down here with Amendment 296, Proposition 296. Does anybody recall that?
Yep.
Proposition 296 here in Jacksonville.
Yeah,
Really?
Human rights.
Refresh my memory.
Amendment 296 was where they take and they add 6 little words, including sexual orientation or gender identity, to our discrimination bill. So that if I am a minister and I have a business, then if somebody comes out and says that they're an openly practicing homosexual, then I would be forced to not discriminate and to have that person, if I discriminated against them, then I could be sued. Chick-fil-A was one of the ones that would be effective, you know, on a national level. You had Hobby Lobby, which is another big organization. Now, when you're looking at these bills like 296, most people don't know what's happening. Most people don't know what they're sliding through our legislature. House Bill 903, we were there, we were able to sit in on that session, but while I was there, what I discovered, it's been years since I've been up there, but do you know how hard it is to find your legislative official if you do want to go to Tallahassee? And then when you find them, do you think that you're actually going to speak to the official themselves? What do you think, Carter?
a person that represents them.
Do you think you're going to actually speak to the representative when you get there? Most of the time, very sorry. Most of the time you're not going to even speak to them. But the dirty little secret is that the legislative aide knows more than the representative themselves anyways. So really utilizing that time that you have with the legislative aide, that's important. Now Raymond alluded to the fact that I'm involved in prison ministry. How many of you know that the Department of Corrections, incarceration is the largest industry in the state of Florida. It's the largest item in our budget. We spend more money on incarcerating people than we do on tourism or agriculture. These are, you would think those would be the big industries here. No, in 1975, we had 25,000 incarcerated males in the state of Florida. According to the U.S. Bureau of Prisons, in 1994, we had 75,000 adult males incarcerated in the state of Florida. And here in 2014, we have 100,000 adult males and 30,000 juveniles incarcerated in the state of Florida. Something is seriously wrong. The most money we spend in the state of Florida is incarcerating. The numbers from the Department of Corrections, from the Bureau of Prisons, says that in 1975 to 2004, in one generation, 40 years, we have quadrupled the adult male population, and we've added 25,000 or 30,000 juveniles. That's state. I'm not talking about here in the city of Duval County. In the city of Duval County, we will incarcerate and arrest 40,000 males, 40,000 people in this city alone within 365 days. That's the city numbers. So what we're looking at here is an epidemic, and I will share with you, when I sold my landscape operation to go into the prisons full time, because I would hire men coming out of prison. When a man walks out of prison, he walks out with $5, $10 bills. Regardless of what his crime was, the fact of the matter is that when he comes out and he supposedly paid his debt to society, he starts out with $50. Now you say, well, he deserves it, tough on crime, I understand all of that. However, the fact of the matter is that when I go into the prisons and I sit with these men at a table just like this, and I hear a young man that's 30 years old tell me that he's got 8 sons. 8 sons, and then another man in his 20s, and he has 6 sons. Now, regardless of the social implications, what we're looking at is from 1974 to 2014, what I didn't tell you was that we release 1,500 inmates every single month. 1,500 inmates are released back in the state of Florida. 1,500 times 12 months. And yet the increase was quadruple. Quadruple. So the reality is that we say, well, that's not my problem. That's what society says. Lock them up, throw away the key. Well, the fact of the matter is, when the man is released, he's got family. And the chances are that he's going to have a huge debt to society in the form of child support. Because when he gets out, for the 5 years or however long he's been incarcerated, we're tacking child support on him. Because rightly, we are footing the bill. When a man goes to prison, it costs roughly between the welfare benefits that we pay out to his family, because if he was the breadwinner, guess who's the breadwinner now? No one, because mama's home with the 4 kids. The man neglected his responsibility to provide for his children, and the mother cannot raise 4 children and supply for her household, so we, the taxpayer, foot the bill. $50,000. No, that's not, we don't clap at that one. But I have learned that when you change a life, you change a generation. Because as these men, I was working with a young man that was 15 years old, no father in the picture. And let me set the stage for you. 80% of the men that are in prison today, 80% of the men that are in prison today come from a fatherless home. 70% of their sons, according to the organization Children of Incarcerated Parents, 70% of their sons will follow them to prison. Now, this isn't just some contrived story to elicit emotion. Okay? When I go into prisons,